going to refute that. No, it's Jesus who's meant to do it. Muhammad, Allah, what are you talking? Oh, that's all that humanist stuff. Man being his own God. Oh, satanic evil. So we already know that, that's not a common held theory. But wait a minute. What then is the motive that makes people refute that statement? Before we get into what they're into, you're a Christian. Why would you feel motivated to not accept that man is his own savior? I'm very interested in that. I'm very interested in as to why you, not the cult, not the clan, not your guru, why you would, have a problem with that. What's in your psychology that has made you in the 20 years of your life, or the 25 years of life, or the 40 years of your life, not have enough brain cells to realize, my God, that's the bottom line. Because in my opinion, if you don't accept that, you are an unsane person. You're not insane, you're unsane. You're toxic, and you need to be quarantined or something. That's really the long and short of it, in my opinion. Then I want to get the crucifix out. As soon as I hear that somebody is, thinking that another authority, another person, has the rights over their mental and emotional and attitudinal and psychic life, I'm worried about that person. Because I know that person has got some very serious psychological and existential problems. Right off the bat. Right off the bat. Then that person is going to be, a herd, part of some herd, or will be a controller of a herd, or will be manipulated by the herd, or whatever you want to call it. But that person is not going to end ever. You're never going to find that person, in doing good in the world, real necessary good at all. It's just a contradiction in terms. It's impossible. They may be sold the illusion or the delusion that they're doing wonderful work because they give to Live Aid or the next stupid charity that pops up out of the woodwork. They were there. Great, you were there, yeah. Well, we had Live Aid, didn't we? When was that? 1982 or something? Did the world get any better? No, all that happened is Bono and Geldof got on their best clothes one day and walked off down there to Buckingham Palace, got on their bony knees and said, thank you, Mom, for their little award. Okay, that's what happened. And their kids will go to good schools and they will have, $1 million hotels and they'll have the best time of it because they're sellouts. They're people who sold out or were already working for this cult of Dionysus, people's champions, in order to lead you away, just like in the Monty Python Meaning of Life. Follow Andre, the waiter. He's got something to show you, so you go up down some streets,
over here,
up some alleyways,
come on,
through a bunch of parks, take you on a 15-minute tour
nearly there now,
to show you something.
See that?
It leaves you up in an empty field.
Much of a philosophy, I know. Fuck you.
And then gets angry with you.
Fuck off.
You don't think it's very much.
Don't come following me.
Yeah. So keep on following Andre. That's what every guru, every priest, every politician is telling you. It's all tomorrow. Every scientist, you're going to have it tomorrow. You're going to have it tomorrow. You can't have it today. Because we don't live in the now. We live in tomorrow's world. Tomorrow doesn't even their own science proves tomorrow doesn't exist, but they're going to tell you it all exists in tomorrow. So the fundamental line is discover that there's a hidden hand, mind controlling the world, operating to keep you down. Understand that you are a participant in that because you are allowing those hooks into your flesh. I've said it many times, and I said it recently, said it last year, you must distinguish the difference between saying, have I been sold a lie? And the difference between, yeah, but have I bought a lie? Because there's all the difference in the world attitudinally between those two statements. You are being sold a lie. But that's the perfect right of that salesman to sell you a lie. The universal force doesn't care about that. Universal force's judgment, field is not really operating on that frequency at all. The judgment field, the whole spiritual ball of wax begins based on whether or not you bought that lie. That's the clause, that's the nuance, that's the difference. It's a no different a rule than anything that applies when you're shopping downtown. I can't even think of how it would be different. This person prefers Gucci over, Versace. This person likes the Levi's over Wrangler. They have the right to sell you whatever they feel like. They have the right to even believe what they feel like. Somebody likes cappuccino, somebody else likes latte, mocha, right? Choice must be there. The decision is yours. But where the real moral component comes in is what you bought, and what you put your energy into, and what you gave in exchange for what you bought. And if man is not in inner harmony or tuned correctly, he's going to create chaotic noise. If a guitar isn't tuned properly, don't expect it to play well. It's going to be in discord, and it will create chaotic sounds. So the bottom line comes in is about how are you tuned? How are you tuning your inner instrument, your consciousness? As I said, the alternative to that is to not tune it, but then hang out with a whole symphony of likewise untuned people, so you can all believe you're cool. In fact, you can say, no, this is a radical new form of avant-garde music we're playing here. It's real hip, it's real cool. All this chaos. In fact, this chaos is really true. This chaos is the ultimate form of music. But that's just you mind controlling yourself into believing that your chaos is order. And unfortunately, there are very toxic people in the world who don't like order. They want chaos because they feel good in that chaos, and you're providing it for them. No human being who is in their center can be hypnotized. That's what needs to be remembered. No human being who is in their center, who is being guided, who is close to their intuition, who's a sharp, critical apparatus, who's got a sharp sense of judgment, can ever be manipulated. Not for any permanent or lasting length of time. They can be diluted temporarily perhaps, but it's like a muscle you have to keep on working on, a muscle you have to keep on sharpening, like anything. And I really believe that a lot of the obstacles and challenges and tragedies that are occurring in the world, that's what it's for. This is the grinder. This is the thing that's sharpening the blades of intelligent people. You have to have friction. I'm sorry, it just happens. You can't sharpen an axe or a beautiful blade without that grinder, without that sharpening apparatus and the friction that's caused and the mechanics of that. So it's the same way with sharpening consciousness. You must have this whetstone of the world in order to sharpen your mind and sharpen your consciousness, so that you come to see some of the meaning in all of this. And it's ultimately a discovery of your own self. It's not about a discovery of society or other people. All of it is a discovery of who and what you are, ultimately. We come back to this comment or this quote at the back of Jim Keith's Mass Control. The first sentence was, "Here stands the new man." And this ties into my work on 2012. And looking at just one other theory that might explain, because the generally held consensus is, that 2012 will signal the end of the world. Obviously, that's not going to happen, but it's not the end of the world, it's the end of man's world. It's the end of one cycle of experience. This is what I keep emphasizing, it's that it's lunatic to think you can ever negatively affect nature or time or even the planet Earth to that extent. But what you can change is your own lifestyle, the lifestyle you've grown accustomed to politically, economically, religiously, psychologically, you see. From an astrological point of view, and if you tie in astrology with psychology, you get this concept about the death of the ego, that the ego of man's inner light, his inner sun, is finite. It has a finite life cycle, as a matter of fact. This is very much brought out in the Vedas, but it's also brought out in astrology with the 12 houses of the zodiac representing the 12 cycles, the 12 seasons of consciousness. Well, we happen to be in the very last degrees of the last sign of the zodiac, opening a whole, subject connecting to the mortality, fatality of the ego itself. And that could this cycle be either the beginning or the ending cycle of this one phase of ego life. Doesn't mean that another type of ego life won't manifest tomorrow. All the gods are born out of the waters again, return to chaos, or then arises a newborn type of consciousness. But the fact of the matter is that predictions of tomorrow don't interest me. What interests me is what's happening now. What is the climate that's happening now? But even leaving that aside, whether or not the ego is going to die, or whether or not there is this life cycle in consciousness, which I personally do believe, the whole new man concept, or also what some scholars have called the post-human world, maybe that's it. Maybe that's what also we need to be paying attention to, that are we hurtling towards a time of apocalypse because the controllers or the people who think of us as their creations are actually going to move in themselves to another phase of life, another cycle of life. One that involves, the organic computer, or a more mechanical type of mind. The mind is quite capable of operating mechanically. The brain, as I said, after all, is programmed by the outside world. It's nothing more than a glorified computer. But so could the end of history, or the end of man's history, around about 2012 be this? The opening or the initiation